Hello and welcome. I am your host of What Are You Reading? What Are You Writing? Author Karen E. Osborne. I have five novels out. The latest is Justice for Emerson. I am so glad that you're here. This is a space for readers and writers to come together and talk about books. So I have to tell you that this is a really special day for a couple of reasons. So many of you have met the amazing Kathie Giorgio. She is an artist, a poet, fiction writer, a teacher, a coach, an editor. She's like mad skills, mad skills. But today, she's going to talk to us about something very wrenching that happened in her life and how she turned that into a beautiful book of poetry. Hey, Kathie,
Hey Karen, how are you?
I'm good, and I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So, we're going to talk about the making of a widow. So, maybe you could give us the backstory,
Sure, I could. It's the birth of a widow, not the
the
making of
birth
a
of a
widow.
widow. I'm
The birth
sorry,
of
the
a
birth
widow.
of a widow.
That's
Shame on me.
okay. That's okay. Well, this is the book I never intended to write. I didn't know I was going to be writing it, and I don't even really I didn't think of it as a book while I was writing it. On January 17th, 2024, my husband walked out of work. He was going to his bus stop, reached a very busy intersection in downtown Milwaukee, but that was controlled by stoplights. And while he walked with the light and he walked in the crosswalk, and according to the videos that are out there, he looked left and right before he crossed. He was still struck by a passenger van. He was hit full on. He was run completely over with all four tires. And the driver started to leave, but was stopped by witnesses. And then one witness came over to Michael. Michael did not have a heart rate. He was not breathing. The witness happened to be a retired Navy rescuer, and he brought Michael back. Michael had horrific injuries, including a traumatic brain injury. Survived for another 5 months. We thought he was going to make it. He made it through 6 weeks in the hospital. He made it through 3 weeks in rehab. He came home for a month with home health care, and then everything went south. And he passed away on June 19th, 2024. So then I went to Oregon. 66 days later, I went to the Oregon coast, which is my place to go to have nothing else around me but the ocean and my words. And I got there, and within 2 days, I suddenly had poetry popping into my head, which I wasn't expecting. And so I wrote it down. I wrote down these lines and started working on them, and then thought, first, I really didn't want to be writing about this. I was trying to get away from it. But the lines kept coming. Every morning I would wake up and there was a line in my head. So I decided to let them go. I wrote them down. I never sat down with the intention to write a poem. I only sat down with the words that I was given. Decided that whatever this was, I would only do it until the first year anniversary of his death, and then I would stop.
Mhm.
And a year later, there was the book.
Wow. I've heard this story before. You and I speak on a over the course of this, we spoke on a regular basis, but the story still fills my eyes up. Such an amazing story. So show us the birth of a widow. It's such a gorgeous cover.
It
Look
is.
at that. Isn't that beautiful?
It's
Oh my
gorgeous.
goodness. It really is.
The
Um,
cover is very special. The writer Jessie Lee Kercheval, she is a professor emeritus at UW-Madison. She has written poetry, fiction, nonfiction, and now she's burst into graphic novels. I asked her if I could have one of her pictures, and she gave this to me to use as the cover.
Mm. It's really beautiful and evocative, all of that. So before, because I'd love for you to read some of the poems, but I have a question. So I know the answer to why poems, because it came to you. That's
Right.
the way that's the way it came to you. What do you hope the reader will get from this? What do you want people to think, feel, do as a result of reading?
There's a couple things from the book because even when I finished with it, I thought, well, what do I do with this?
Mm,
And I didn't know in my head if it was publishable because it is so intensely personal. So I sent it to my poetry publisher and they accepted it within 24 hours. And so my thought was first off to reach out to other people who were in my shoes, other people who have lost spouses or loved ones under really bad circumstances. This wasn't that Michael died, Michael was killed.
yes.
And there was a whole story behind it with fighting the city, who only charged the driver with a $73 citation for failure to yield to a pedestrian. So this was a huge thing, and I knew there were other people out there, and I wanted to offer my company in a way.
Mm,
I also am hoping that somehow this brings something good to what happened. I'm a part now of a group in Milwaukee, a nonprofit that is trying to decrease the number of pedestrian deaths in Milwaukee. I will be reading there in June. If I can help someone else, if I could prevent this from happening to anybody else, it wouldn't make it worthwhile, but it would certainly help.
yes, it would add some purpose.
Yes.
Um, yes, absolutely, absolutely. When you were writing it, when these poems were just pouring out of you, was that cathartic? Was that, did it devastate you? Did it like the pouring out of your words onto the computer, onto paper? How were you dealing with that? How did you deal with that?
It was both cathartic and devastating. It hit every possible emotion it could have. There's one poem in there that I wrote about my husband's closet. Michael had this huge, huge closet in our condo. We built this place, so I designed the insides. And Michael was what I called a closet hoarder. He didn't throw away anything ever. And I am particularly neat. And so I told him when we moved here, I would make sure we had a huge closet. Anything he wanted to keep, he could put in there as long as the doors closed. And the doors were closed. I had to open them, and take care of things. And the stuff that I found, he had so much in there that the shelves had pulled away from the walls and were just laying on top of all the things. Yes, yes. I kept thinking of there was a radio show where somebody's closet was opened each week and all this stuff would fall out. Michael was an old-time radio writer. He wrote radio plays. And I kept thinking of that. It was Molly's closet. And I got mad. I was so angry with him while I was doing this. I was just like, how could you do this to me? That not only do I have to deal with your leaving, but I have to deal with your mess and find all these things. So
Mm,
I hit every emotion possible.
yeah, yeah, because you were probably angry about more than that.
Yeah, you bet.
As the anger bubbled up. Well, would you grace us with some readings?
Of course I would. And in fact, I will start with that particular poem. Sorry to look it up, Karen, but this was the one I was looking for.
Not
Closet
a problem.
48. This one is, it's one of my favorites. I even read it before the book came out. All right, so this is called Closet. It was written on December 20th, 2024. 2 weeks after your death, I give all your shirts to Goodwill. Some you haven't worn in years, others still have the price tags. All are stuffed so tightly on the rod, it is difficult to free them. You always had trouble getting rid of things, including me.
Mm.
I give away your pants, shorts, suits, swim trunks, ties, belts. I throw away your underwear and socks. The clothing closet and the dresser drawers are empty. So I turn and face what I call your hoarder's closet as a joke. But it isn't a joke. It's a secret, even from me. You told me to stay out. Inside, the framework that held the shelves has broken from the weight. The shelves collapsed and rested on the piles of things on the shelf below and below and below. I have to move and remove very carefully, starting from the top, or else the closet interior will fall like an avalanche of unknowns. I worry I could drown, be buried alive in detritus. Years and years of detritus, of secrets. Oh, the things I pull out. Old CDs and DVDs and VHSs and cassettes. Empty jewel cases, most cracked beyond use. Books unread, receipts still inside, newspapers, TV guides, yearbooks, and autograph books that belong to strangers, bought at antique stores. Christmas ornaments that never hung on our tree. Sports figures, action figures, cartoon figures, many miniature rubber duckies, all made up to look like anything but a duck. Change, photos, notebooks, letters. As I unload shelf after shelf, fill bag after bag, place in piles marked Goodwill, garbage, keep, I brush at my sleeves over and over. I want to take a shower. So much dust, so much dirt, so much I didn't know. The keep pile is the smallest. In the second to last collapsed shelf, I find a piece of cardboard. On one side in black marker, your name, an arrow pointing up. On the other, my name with a question mark. It's from the first time we met in an airport, face to face, after getting to know each other on the internet. I remember laughing. I remember the way your arms felt around me that first time. Nothing between us. Now I hold the cardboard sign with our names and then carefully place it in the keep pile. After I hire a handyman to build a new framework, lay new shelves, I put the sign back in the closet on the top shelf. And everything else I put in the closet, I choose to be there. No secrets. There was so much I didn't know, but at least I know this. You kept the sign that marked our meeting, and you loved me.
Gosh, so beautiful, so
Thank you.
beautiful. Oh my gosh, my gosh. Mwah. Okay, we have time for one more.
All right, I will do the final one, and no, it's not giving anything away like it would be if it was fiction.
Yes.
The only poem I planned to write was on the first anniversary of that death. And when I
Mm,
got to that day, I was in Oregon and I couldn't do it. The next morning I woke up and here was the poem.
mm,
The first day after the first anniversary of your death, June 20th, 2025. When midnight struck on your death anniversary, I breathed a sigh of relief. It was over this first year. It was done. But when I woke on this morning, the first day after the first year, you were still gone. and I still wore grief like a cloak. It wraps around my throat sometimes, and sometimes it drapes my shoulders. If it falls off, I catch it tight, throttle it with both fists. I drag it behind me, or I wear it upon me, and I wonder when my fingers will open all on their own and let it go, leaving only you and me, who you were and who I am, now that you're gone.
Mm, mm. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful poetry. I think these would help anybody who's lost a love and under any circumstances. They're just beautiful. And
Oh,
who
thank
hasn't?
you.
Anybody who hasn't, because right, they're gorgeous. Okay, so catching my breath, my goosebumps are gone,
Okay,
and
good.
yes. So, um, tell us a little bit. Let's see, you got me at lost for words, and I thought this whole interview through. What is next? What this is out, right? Your
Out.
and your interview is part of that, your whole rollout of this
Mhm.
beautiful book, Birth of a Widow. But you're always working on something. What
I
else is
am.
going on?
I am. Well, one of the things I've started teaching, I have a new workshop that I teach that is called Finding the Words, Writing Your Way Through Grief. And
Mm,
one of the things I'm teaching then is for writers who have lost someone, but also for people who are just grieving and need something to help them deal with that. And I use examples of how I wrote about grief in poetry, in nonfiction, and in fiction, and
mm.
how you can use it. Again, when I was in Oregon, I ran into a couple who told me they were there celebrating their 30th anniversary. And I said, "Oh, I just lost my husband before our 25th. I guess I won't ever have a silver anniversary," which of course stopped every conversation and off they went. But when I got back to the house and there's a special little writing nook that I sit in, I began to think about that and think about, people of course say things to you. Michael's in a better place. He's out of pain now. He's in a wonderful world. And I thought Michael wouldn't want to be. Michael's heaven was at home, with me, with his family, with everything around us. And so I wrote a novel, which is coming out February 18th of next year. It is a sequel to If You Tame Me, which included Frank and Audrey. If you know my books, it's the book with the iguana on the front. And Frank has died. I also borrowed from Hope Always Rises, Frank is in heaven. So there are scenes with Audrey down below, and there's scenes with Frank up above. And I got a lot out of writing that book.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's coming next. And then I'm also working on a short story collection. I decided I wanted to go back to my true love with writing. If I only could write one thing, it would be short stories.
Mm,
And so I'm at work on a new collection.
wow. So how do you fit your students in into this life? Tell us just a little bit quickly. Tell us about your business.
All Writers Workplace and Workshop is an international creative writing studio. It's located here in Waukesha, Wisconsin. It offers online and on-site courses and workshops in all forms of creative writing and all abilities. So I have people who are literally putting their first words down on page, and others like you who have several books out already. It's online, like I said, so I can
Yeah,
teach
that's me.
anywhere.
I'm in Florida.
Yep, yep. And I'm in Wisconsin. I have students from all around the world, including countries that I didn't even know existed. So, it is a lot of work. I teach about 85 hours a week, and I have for the whole 21 years of All Writers. I meet with clients in the morning, I write in the afternoon, and I meet with clients and teach classes at night, and then stay up very late reading manuscripts.
How much longer well, I won't ask you that. You'll just keep going, right?
I'll keep
Energize.
going.
Just
Yes.
keep going until, well, I'm so glad that that the work doesn't keep you from writing,
Oh
because
no.
that would just be heartbreaking when you write so beautifully and so
Thank you.
engagingly, and you have so many fans. So, guys, you know the drill. You know that you can find all of Kathie's work on Amazon, in your independent bookstore, in Barnes and Noble, in your library. If you don't see it, ask for it. But how can they be in touch with you?
They can go to my author website, which is Kathie Giorgio, Giorgio.org, or they can go to the All Writers site, which is All Writers Workshop, all one word.com. You can definitely find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can still find me on X. I'm one of the few holding on. Yep.
No, say it isn't so.
So all you have to do is Google my name and you'll find me.
You'll find you. Well, I know that all of you are going to do this. Those of you that know Kathie, and either because you've seen all of her interviews, because you've read her books before because you've hired her and she's helping you like she has helped me and continues to help me. Please let her know, no matter how you get in touch with her, that you saw her, met her, heard her on what are you reading, what are you writing. It didn't ask you for a book recommendation. Do you have a do you have one quick?
I do. I'm reading a book right now that is called Good Joy, Bad Joy. And of course, I'm not going to remember the name of the writer. It's Mickey something. She also wrote the Recorded Regrets of Clover. It's a fabulous novel. So just look up the titles. And it's one that I want to take a week off so that I could just sit and read instead of doing everything else.
Allison fitting it
Amazing.
in. So see, all that she said, plus she reads. So please be in touch. We thank you so much for watching or listening, whichever you're doing. You can find us on Spotify and Amazon Music and Apple Podcasts. If you just like audio, you can find us on YouTube, on my website, on my Facebook page. Kathie and I thank you. Till next week, everybody. Bye.